Chapter 3. Let's gear up. I have been training at Aurelius for 3 straight weeks, and I'm starting to get anxious. My hand-to-hand defense and striking are still unmatched, but I've been working with different weapons trying to get a feel for them. Since these battles require more than a free-wielding motion, the technique is most important to be effective with a weapon. Have you not chosen your weapon yet? Shields had started to get annoyed. I don't know which one to choose. It's not that hard a choice. If it's meant to be, the weapon will almost choose you. You will know which is yours by the way it feels when you wield it. I don't know what he wants me to do. I stare at the weapons for a minute before I lock my eyes on the sword. I pick it up and have a different feeling as I'm holding it. I think this is it, I said. As I turn, I see Shield swing his blade at my head as if he's trying to decapitate me. I quickly block the attempt. The hell are you doing? I demand. Defend yourself. Trust in your weapon and your ability. Don't fight with yourself. Let go. It will come naturally, Shields tells me. I'm so pissed that I do so and immediately feel the sword become an extension of my hand. Before I know it, I have bested Shields and I'm standing over him as he signals defeat. Out of breath and surprise, he slapped the sword away and gets up. Well done. Your origin would be proud. Who is my origin? I ask. I've been trying for the longest to get him to answer the question. You are the echo of Spartacus, Shields reveals. For real? I didn't know what to make of it. How much do you actually know about Spartacus? Shields asks. Other than the fact that I loved Andy Whitfield and never missed an episode of Spartacus on Starz, I didn't know much at all about him. I know he's one of the greatest warriors who ever lived. A bit. The basics, really, and what I've seen on TV. Spartacus was a Thracian. Thrace encompassed what today includes Greece, Bulgaria, and Turkey. On a mission to conquer the world and expand the empire, the Romans took Thrace and Spartacus, sentencing him to slavery. Lentulus Batiatus purchased Spartacus and brought him to his gladiator school outside Capua, in what is now southern Italy. While enslaved, Spartacus met Crixus and Oenomaus, 2 gladiators who were also owned by Batiatus and would later become his seconds in command. Shields nods thoughtfully. In 73 BC, Spartacus led a revolt with Crixus and Oenomaus. They threw off their chains and started the Third Servile War. Gathering strength and size as an army, he freed slaves and led them into battle against the Romans. The slave army grew upwards of 70,000 men and won several encounters against Legatus Claudius Glaber before the Romans began to take them seriously. Running out of options, Rome looked for a solution and found it in Marcus Licinius Crassus, a name you should be familiar with by now. Crassus was the wealthiest man in the empire and offered his services to destroy Spartacus and his slave militia. After failing to reach a truce with Crassus, Spartacus's soldiers were slaughtered. Those who survived the ordeal were crucified and placed on display to be made examples of. What happened to Spartacus? I asked. His body was never found. People said that he perished in the final battle, but he made it out alive. He searched for and found his wife, who had been also captured and sold into slavery by the Romans. He freed her, and they lived out the rest of their days as farmers in the outer regions of Greece. The story inspired me. With my first fight coming up in 2 weeks, I finally feel ready. I have been waiting for 2 years to step back into the ring. The first event of the year is only 2 weeks away, he went on. This is what you've been waiting for. You're getting the chance to test your skill against an opponent who wants your blood. I have something for you, a gift. Come with me to my office. You'll want to see this. What could it be? The suspense is almost paralyzing. Upon entering the office, Shield says, "Close the door," and turns to the bookcase on the wall adjacent to his desk. Sitting on the second to last shelf was a black trinket box with ancient-looking figural decorations. Shields removes an old key from the small chest and slid a few books to the side, revealing a keyhole. He inserts the key and pulls back the entire bookcase, which is actually a door. This way, he says. I follow him through the portal and peer down a darkened staircase illuminated by torches positioned high on the stone walls. At the bottom, it opens onto a long passage that runs at least 20 yards. At the other end, Shields turns to confirm I am still following him before he ventures further down the hidden passage. I start to feel on edge, preparing myself for anything we might find. When I catch up with him, he says, "We're here. This room houses legendary weapons collected over centuries by previous Aurelius members. Only members of this house are privy to what's in here. Welcome to the arsenal." He pushes open a massive wooden door. Inside, I find a marble storeroom containing an extensive collection of weapons. Fluorescent lights, air filtration, and a temperature control system were built to maintain the items in the room. There are racks, shelves, and tables full of arms. 12 columns supported the ceiling, divided into 4 rows, 3 columns per row. In between each column, glass cases showcase the most notable weapons. At the end of the room, on the wall, hangs a massive gold letter. 20 feet high and 10 feet across at the base that resembles an A. Just beneath it, 2 swords lay on a podium. Where is this place? I ask. We're under the training room. This is the mark of Aurelius, and these swords are yours. Whoa, these are intense. Not to sound ungrateful or anything, but why are you giving them to me? He silences the irreverent tone in my voice with a level stare, and I purse my lips and raise my eyebrows. They are the falcata, the personal weapons of Alexander the Great. He conquered the world with these swords. Upon his death, the blades disappeared for centuries, but in time, re-emerged in possession of the Roman Emperor Numerian, whose short reign ended in 284 AD as a spoil of war. Numerian had the original arsenal built to house the weapons of conquered kings, but since he held joint reign with his older brother, he felt he needed to find a way to separate himself as his own entity. Numerian was commended for his creation, but raised suspicion for his work's secrecy, and Numerian was perceived as a spy. As a result, the Senate, utterly unaware of legacy, had him assassinated. However, those who knew about legacy continued the contest, and realizing the economic potential of the wagers associated with it, agreed that legacy would need to expand. Shield sank onto a wooden stool in an alcove of the room and motioned me to join him. One of the torches is casting fleeting shadows across the side of his face. The light seemed to make his eyes glow. Shields goes on. The original members sent word to trusted men of means and the officials of surrounding lands. As a result, forces were joined and 4 initial sects were created to establish identity among the parties. The senators who created this sect chose to name the entity Aurelius in honor of Rome's last great emperor. They lived by the motto, Beati sumus Diorum, blessed are we by the gods. The senator protected the arsenal and gave their best fighters the most extraordinary weapons they had. The tradition has continued ever since. These identical swords have blades 20 inches long, 2.5 wide, and are smithed out of steel. During Alexander's time, the Greeks had made theirs out of copper, so someone must have recast the blades to make them stronger. The swords weighed about 5 pounds each and are as sharp as surgical scalpels. The crossguards are made of gold with a pearl grip handle. The grips are curved towards the ends and have individual finger molds for better gripping. There are lions' heads on the pommels to represent the ferocity with which Alexander fought. There are great fighters in Aurelius, Shield says, breaking the momentary silence, but you have the potential to be the best. Train hard, fight harder, and you will reap reward greater than you can possibly dream. He leaves the arsenal while I'm still in there just staring at the swords. I walk to the center of the room to get acquainted with the weapons. I begin shadow fighting, imagining I am in the arena, counter-moving, attacking, and blocking my opponent's attacks. I am so focused I start to feel Spartacus coming through my arms. Suddenly, I'm in the arena as Spartacus, battling a man twice his size. This memory, it feels like a memory, is so vivid before long that I am consciously making all his moves. It ends when I deal the final blow and drive my sword through the man's heart. The crowd cheers ardently, chanting Spartacus in waves of sound that swept around the arena. Leaving the arsenal, I don't know what to do with myself. I am full of life and energy. I rush back to the apartment with the swords in my bag. McKenna isn't home yet, and I thought I would do something nice for her. Her favorite food is shrimp Alfredo, so I decide to go out and buy the ingredients so I can make dinner. After a few hours, I hear her keys jingling in the door. When she opens it, I tell her to wait for a second, and then I have a surprise. I cover her eyes and navigate her to the kitchen. Something smells good, she says. I had a good day today, so I figured I could do something to make yours better too. What did you do? McKenna asks with a skeptical tone in her voice. I had to do something wrong? Can't I just do something nice for you because I want to? Okay. Do you know what next week is? Our 3rd anniversary. Did you think I'd forget? I did, honestly. We discussed plans for our anniversary over dinner. We decided to go out and eat, then to another party being thrown by Aurelius. When we finish our meal, we head to the living room for a while. I figured it is the perfect time to talk about legacy. I know discretion is the primary injunction, but how would I explain myself if I got cut in a fight or even worse? She wouldn't know what to do with herself if something happens to me. I need to tell you something, I position. McKenna shifts her focus so she can intently hear what I'm going to say. I'm fighting again, and I have a fight coming up soon. Okay, I know you're happy about that. Aurelius isn't a fraternity, I began. Not the way you think it is. It's a part of a bigger institution known as legacy. It's an entire world of modern warriors known as bloodborns who fight in the manner of people they descend from, with real weapons, and I don't want to go into a fight without you knowing. Wait, what? You're serious, aren't you? Yeah, I had to tell you because I don't want you to get concerned if I come home one night battered and bleeding. There is always a possibility of being hurt when I'm fighting, but more so now. She leaned back against the sofa cushions and stared for a moment at the ceiling. I trust your judgment, she says after a long pause, and know that if you were unsure of yourself or this legacy, you wouldn't even be entertaining it, so I'm okay with it. But I'm coming to every single one of your fights. That is a non-negotiable. I'm not surprised she wanted to come. I probably would have been shocked if she hadn't. I wasn't too sure how I would get her in, but I'd figure something out. If I have to pay her way there, I would. So, explain to me exactly what a bloodborn is, she says. Bloodborns are the descendants of the greatest known warriors throughout the ages. Legacy has been around since the latter years of the Roman Empire. There are these people called historians who research and follow bloodlines. They can predict in what generation a person whose blood has ties to one of history's elite will manifest bloodborne ability. I'm told that legacy very rarely comes across a bloodborn of my caliber. I'm what they call an echo. An echo is a doppelganger of their origin. Doppelganger? Like a double? Who is your origin? I am, it seems, the echo of Spartacus, I reveal. Well, Mr. Spartacus, I'll be in the crowd watching you become a legend once again. I feel a weight lift off my shoulders when I finish telling her. It wasn't that big of a secret, but it's something that I needed to say. After class the next day, I went to the house to train as usual. Most days, Link and I pair up. My training has been going well. I'm already considered one of the best fighters in Aurelius, along with Nico and Link. Though I hadn't had a fight in Legacy, I was just more experienced than most of the house members. Link is very skilled. He uses a sword and a shield, the latter as protection and valuable in battle, though I didn't want one. I'm more offensive. I use 2 swords so I can deflect and attack quicker. We train for about 2 hours before calling it a day. Link asked about McKenna and tells me how Juliet is. We had a good time with you guys at the party, I tell him. Yeah, us too. Decent party, Link says. I don't know how Owen got in, but he was lucky Nico broke it up. Nico is all about honor. After all, he is a relic. Was Juliet okay? Those guys didn't hurt her or anything, did they? Jules was okay. She's a firecracker. Oh, that reminds me. I never thanked you for stepping in when you did. I'm glad you could see what was happening because I had no idea. Hey, McKenna was there too. I would never allow anything to happen to them. Who, by the way, is your origin? I had never asked before and I'm curious. Syphax. Maybe you've heard of him. He was king of the ancient tribe of Macecily in western Numidia. In 213 BC, he allied himself with the Romans and went to war against the Massilians of eastern Numidia. The assault was successful, and Syphax gained territory in eastern Numidia. He died in 203 BC after being delivered to Scipio Africanus as a prisoner. I think that's remarkable. How could something so elaborate still exist and be a thriving institution? I've always been a person who would jump at the chance to learn something new. The history and legacy is like a time machine to the people who laid the foundation for today's world. We tend to take for granted where we come from. If you were to search your bloodlines, where would they take you? Would you even have the balls to find out? There's no future without a past, and we can't figure out where we're going unless we know where we came from. When we finish up for the day, I head through campus on my way back to the apartment. I heard someone yelling my name and turned to see Nico heading toward me. Since the incident at Hayes, we had become pretty good friends. What's up, dude? He asks. Nothing much. Where you off to? I've got to handle some family business. Are you ready for the first Proalium? Think so. I've been waiting a long time to get back into action. I want the day to be here already. That's good. Just make sure you prep yourself. Prep for what? I don't know what he was referring to. Was this not just going to be a fight like any other? When you're fighting in the arena, taking a hit isn't the same as when you're in the cage. Receiving a blow from a razor-sharp weapon is more painful than you can imagine. If and when you do get cut, just keep moving. Your adrenaline will keep the pain under wraps for the remainder of the match. After that, though, it's another story. I had almost forgotten about that possibility. I'm so used to barely being touched when I fought in the cage. Every weapon is made as sharp as possible and maintained that way. You can drop an apple from a foot away and these blades will slice right through it. Just thinking about that is making me cringe. I quickly change the subject. So, if you don't mind me asking, you're a relic, right? Yeah, I am. What exactly is that? Relics are bloodborns whose families still practice the same traditions as their origins. My family has been aware of and participated in legacy for centuries. You could even say we are an institution. Because of this long-standing tradition of battle success, we've maintained the custom of praying to the same gods as our origins. Why not? It's kept us alive this long. How did your ancestors know about legacy? I ask. When Troy was burned down, Andromache, the wife of Hector, was going to start over but didn't get far before the Greeks were once again on their tails. Fearing death for herself and her son, she had her most beloved maid take Astyanax away while she stayed behind to slow the Greek advance. Hector had valuables stowed away for his wife and son so they could continue to live well in the case of his death, sort of a life insurance policy. Eventually the Greeks started to gain on them. Andromache left the location of the valuables with her son and sacrificed herself to give the maiden Astyanax a chance to escape. He never used his inheritance, but he kept a close watch over it, passing it down through generations. When legacy was created, my ancestor, Agapitos, a bloodborn himself, was approached by one of the original founding senators he happened to know. Recognizing his great skill as a warrior, that senator made him an offer. From that day on, when a child of my family is a bloodborn, we take our place as Aurelius legacies. Hector would be proud. I too believe he would be. The thing that made Hector a phenomenal warrior was not the fact that he was exceptionally skilled. He loved his country and his people. He fought not for glory or honor, but for his people to continue their peaceful lives. He was a devoted husband, father, and a warrior last. Real men, Nico was saying, are respectable people who carry themselves in a manner that befits a gentleman. That's how I try to be for McKenna. I'm relieved to be home. Training has been exhausting. I find McKenna sitting watching TV on the couch, so I join her. Going to parties and on dates is nice, but McKenna and I got most of our enjoyment from just sitting on the couch together. We love throwing on sweats, cuddling up with a bowl of popcorn, and watching movies and a long list of our favorite TV shows. We flip through the channel guide, searching for something to watch, and finally settle on a show we both love. A marathon of the series is playing on the network. We watch every second until we fall asleep on the couch. When I wake up the next day, McKenna has already left. There's a note on the coffee table for me. Good morning, stud. You were so cute sleeping like a little princess that I didn't want to disturb you. I made you breakfast. It's your favorite, Fruity Pebbles. The box is sitting on the table, and a bowl and a spoon with your name on them. Text me when you wake up. Love you. XOXO. Still tired, I get myself off the couch and try to get it together. I take a shower, eat breakfast, and head over to Aurelius. With the Paralium coming up, I still have a lot of work to prepare for my first fight. With weapons in hand, it is time for me to get my body armor fitted. I went to the equipment room and met the equipment handler, a nice old man named Doc. A little quirky, but he knows his stuff. When it came to the equipment, he's a bit of a mad scientist. Doc fashions armor that's adapted the original look of the pieces to modern expression. When I shake his hand, it is rough, and he has a noticeably raspy voice. I can tell he's a true craftsman. So what kind of armor do you have for me? I ask. I've crafted something special for you, Mr. Hart. In Legacy, it is customary for fighters who want to immortalize their origins. They dress and wear armor that is in some respects traditional to their origin and cultural customs. I don't expect you to sport the brief the past gladiators wore, but there are a few things you do need. Greaves, cuirass, bracers, and a helmet. No helmet. I don't want to wear one. I know it would be wise to, but I feel it's distracting. When I fight, I need to make eye contact with my opponent. I want him to be able to see the focus and determination in my eyes. Fighting me is like standing face to face with a wild beast. If you make a wrong move, you may meet your end. All right, your choice. Everything but a helmet. Shall I explain the function of these items? Yeah, I would like to know, I say. Right. Well, your greaves are the pieces of armor that protect your shins. They consist of a rigid material and padding to absorb direct strikes. They can also work well in delivering hard blows to your opponents. Your bracers will protect your forearms. The cuirass might be your most important piece of armor. This chest plate prevents your torso from being turned into Swiss cheese. Without it, you're more vulnerable to blade wounds, being stabbed in vital organs, or being killed. Typically, steel would be the metal of choice for these, but I have developed a titanium alloy that is nearly weightless and almost indestructible. Like the original cuirasses, yours resembles a bare torso. The pecs, abs, and obliques are defined on the plate, allowing for easy maneuverability. I've also added decorative moldings of lions to both pecs to resemble the handles of your swords. The metal, as you can see, is painted matte black. The moldings are gray. These things are sick. I'm impressed. Doc brought up a good point too, that I hadn't thought about until he made reference to it. What am I going to wear? When I fought in the cage, I only wore thigh-length shorts in addition to my gloves. This is different. I won't look right in shorts and armor. I don't stay long for my training session today. It is our anniversary, and McKenna and I have plans to celebrate. We rendezvous at the apartment. She is already getting prepared when I get home. McKenna had just got out of the shower and is doing her hair and makeup. I don't need much time to get ready, so I hop in the shower before getting dressed. What are you going to wear tonight? She asks. I don't know yet. I was just going to throw on something nice. Throw on something nice? It's our anniversary. You don't just throw on something nice. I bought you something to wear. It's on the bed. I have simple taste in clothing. I've never cared much about what I wore, though I hardly looked like a slob, always wearing dark clothes, fitted tees, and slim-fit jeans. McKenna, on the other hand, is very stylish. She takes pride in the clothes she wears, always dressing appropriately for any occasion. Clothes are the first impression you give people, she says. I didn't mind that she'd bought something for me to wear. It was thoughtful, and I'm sure she knew exactly what I would like. I turn off the water, grab my towel, and dry off. McKenna is in the bedroom when I enter to find a bag on my side of the bed. When I open it, I'm not disappointed by the long-sleeved knitted top, new jeans, and black boots. Well, what do you think? She asks. I put on the clothes and look in the mirror to see how they fit. They are perfect. I start smiling and turn to her. You don't have to say anything. I can tell by the look on your face that I know what I'm doing. You're welcome, McKenna says as she enters the closet and pulls out another bag of clothes. You bought a new outfit? Hello, it's our anniversary. I want to look special. Besides, you don't think I would buy you a new outfit and not get something for myself, do you? I'll be ready in 10 minutes. While I wait for her, I turn on the TV. She'd said 10 minutes, but there were days when waiting for her to get ready, 10 minutes could turn into 30 in no time. Luckily, today isn't one of them. In no time, she appears in the doorway. Ready? She asks. I peer at the door as she stands there in the new little black number. The raceback tank dress had an iridescent overlay that gave it an eye-catching shimmer. Black pumps highlighted her long, statuesque legs. Stunning, I say. There is no other way to say it. We make our way to dinner. I have made reservations for us at Soleil, a charming French restaurant spoken very highly of, with a laid-back, pleasant ambiance, efficient and polite service, and food to die for. The cozy table they sat us at, nestled in the heart of Soleil, is the perfect setting. Dinnerware placed with precision, white tablecloth hugging our thighs, a low glass container with red phalaenopsis anchored in place by submerged river stones sits in the middle of the table, with a tea candle that seems to float weightlessly on the surface. This is beautiful, McKenna says. A toast to us, I say when the wine comes, a chilled bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. On this day 3 years ago, we professed our commitment to one another, though it feels like our fire was forged in a lifetime before we even met. I will love you across any plane, unconditionally till my last breath. She gazes at me. Fighting to hold back tears, she mouths those 3 words. I love you. Dinner is perfect, a smooth transition from appetizers to entrees. We decide to forego the movies. The food had been so filling and delicious it left us a bit tired. All we want to do is go home and lie in each other's arms. The Proelium is days away, and I am more ready than ever. I have been chomping at the bit to enter the arena after living through the recollections of Spartacus. I want to feel a sensation that comes from standing before an audience of 5,000 screaming fans chanting my name. Bobby and I sit in Shields' class, waiting for the period to end. When it does, Shields tells us to stay. Have a nice rest, Bobby? He asks as Bobby wipes the drool from his cheek. This won't take long. With the Proelium coming up, I need you to be ready. Luke, the assembly members have chosen your opponent and they haven't gone easy on you. Because of your experience and the fact that you're an echo, they want to see exactly what you're capable of. What's the assembly? I ask. Bobby will discuss that with you later. Right now, I need you to pay attention. Your opponent for the Proelium is Baldur, the Bloodborn of Eric the Red. This guy is not to be taken lightly. He's a brute and doesn't go down easily. If you're not ready, you may find yourself in a world of hurt. Bobby, brief Luke on Baldur. I have a meeting I must get to. Shields leaves in a hurry. I wonder where he's going, I say, but turn my attention to the trainee. Bobby, I know, is going to be a great historian. So, what can you tell me about Baldur? Well, first off, he's without question the Bloodborn of a Viking. If you Google image modern Viking, you will find a picture of the guy. He's a mountain, easily upwards of 300 pounds, long hair, and he has a neck as thick as your thigh. I once saw him take a spear to the shoulder and that didn't even faze him. He pulled out the spear like it was a splinter, wiped his fingers in the blood and tasted it before he demolished his opponent. Tough doesn't even begin to describe him. I'm not worried. He isn't the biggest guy I've ever fought. I will fight him just as I would everyone else. Let the match come to me and react when I have an opening. If that doesn't work, then it will have to be a brawl. Either way, Baldur is nothing more than my next fall guy. But the Proelium is 2 days away, and it is time for me to live up to my name. Thanks, that's all I needed to know. You hungry? We haven't hung out in a while. I have time to kill, and I want to see what Bobby has been up to. We go to a diner so I can grab a burger. I know a lot about Bobby's family history, but I have no idea of his personal life. So what's up, bro? How have you been? I ask. Not bad, man, just working as usual. I know what you mean. McKenna and I have been dog-tired lately. Most nights we end up falling asleep in front of the TV. That's not a bad thing, you know. I wish I had someone to fall asleep on the couch with. Isn't there anyone? I ask. I've had girlfriends before, but you know how that goes. Nothing works out. There's no trust. You're not what they want right now. I don't know. There's one girl I have had my eye on for my physics class, Kane. It's Japanese, and it means beautiful one. She's really pretty. That classical sort of beautiful. We've talked a bit in class, but she would never go for a guy like me. I wouldn't be so sure if I were you, I say. Next time you talk to Kane, pay attention to her body language and what she says. If she has a warm, open body gesture towards you, you have half the battle won. Talk to her about something other than class. Try to make the conversation about her. If she's engaged and wants to keep talking, then you're in. No woman talks to a guy they don't like. Trust me, you'll know. There is always a chance. We stay a while longer. Eventually we part ways and I head home. All I am focused on is the proalium. For the next 2 days, all I do is eat, sleep, and train. I am ready to fight, and everyone is going to find out just how much. There is one thing I take heed of. McKenna tells me about a dream she had the night before that had scared her because of how vivid it was. According to her, the vision was so relevant it felt like a prophecy. You went to battle and were killed, she says. You saw your opponent as just another unassuming person. He was as strong as an ox, and he took your life. Luke, please be careful tonight. She knows about the proalium and, in fact, is going to come. There's no way I can fight without her there. She would never forgive herself if I got hurt and she wasn't with me. Wait for a second, she adds. McKenna gets out of bed and hurries to the closet. There is a red dress hanging from the door. She grabs it and tears a swatch off the bottom. Here, I want you to take this, she says, handing me the swatch. Wear it around your hand so you remember what I said. I meet Shields and the other members of Aurelius at the house. Link, Taylor, and Nico are also fighting in the proalium. Taylor is the bloodborn of King Arthur's most trusted knight, Lancelot. Taylor will be the first of us to enter the arena tonight, followed by Link, me, and finally Nico. We are embraced by our brothers and wish good luck before we leave for the event. We travel to the arena as a single unit. The others will be watching from the stands and cheering us on. McKenna and Juliet are coming with Bobby. He and I figured that if they go with him, he can say they too work for Aurelius, so there shouldn't be any problem getting them in. McKenna told me that Juliet has never been to a fight even though she was aware of Legacy. She's been too afraid that something will happen to Link. Though, since McKenna is coming, she is willing to go for the first time. We reach the site, a building called the Sphere, named after the glass dome made up of individual triangular sections that encase the entire arena, an impressive architectural feat. To maintain privacy, Legacy has private armed security constantly patrolling the grounds. Local police have been prohibited by higher powers from coming near the area. I ask Shields why the guards aren't carrying guns. They're forbidden from entering the world of Legacy, he tells me. There's no honor in a gun. It's a coward's weapon of choice. If you want to take a man's life, do it up close with your own hands. The Sphere is on the wharf, only a couple miles from our headquarters. I've never been inside, but was under the impression that it was a performing arts center. I guess it moonlighted as a theater of war. The stage is set. The smell of the harbor fills the parking lot as we make our way past thousands of cars parked outside. You can tell from the retail value of some of them that whatever gala was going on inside requires a great deal of money. Instead of entering through a back entrance, fighters are made to parade through the crowd. The Legacy fanatics want to assess the men they would be betting their money on up close. It is almost as if we were thoroughbreds at the Kentucky Derby. The main hallway circles the arena walls. The massive building has black marble floors, arched doorways, and torches burning high on tall Greek columns. Towering statues of history's greatest warriors stand as proud memorials to those men and women who had forged the world of Legacy. Like the Colosseum in Rome, the Flavian Amphitheater, the sand-covered floor of the Sphere is arranged in the shape of a bowl. Seating rose above the pitch and was filled with blood-crazed patrons eagerly waiting for the first contest. The locker rooms lay beneath the arena floor. The arena pitch is operated entirely from the hypogeum. Shields walks us to our quarters, where we suit up for battle. Doc had sent our weapons ahead of our arrival. He maintains them at an optimal state of readiness for combat. Each one of my Aurelius brothers has a pregame ritual. Taylor is in the hall, practicing his handiwork with the sword. Link is working out in the corner, doing push-ups, pull-ups, and dips to warm his body and make himself ready to fight. Nico's pregame is something I had never seen before. I didn't grasp the true meaning of a relic until I saw him praying for victory to the god Apollo. Different to say the least, but I can't concern myself with that. I have no pregame ritual. Just focus. I fasten on my armor and visualize myself destroying Balder. For me, fighting is like chess. I can see the game several moves ahead. This intuition allows me to play out the match in my head before I ever touch the floor. My everlast hand wraps are perfectly secure. Greaves, bracers, and cuirass firmly fixed to my chest, forearms, and legs. I'm wearing black combat boots and pants. I tie the strip of red material McKenna had given me around my right hand and wrist. My two falcata are sharpened and ready to spill blood. Shields enters the room to give us a pep talk. I wanted to talk to you before you take the stand. This is the first Proelium of the year. Fight with courage and honor, and you will bring glory to our house. For the Brotherhood, for Aurelius, we shout in return. We leave the barracks and head to the arena. Standing behind a massive 15-foot gate, we wait for Taylor to be called in. Shields pulls me aside. It's showtime. Are you ready? I was born ready. Good. Then go out there and give these people what they came for. Blood. Whenever you fight, mercy must not exist. If they step in the arena with you, there's only one option. Win if you want to live. Do whatever it takes to survive. Pour a man's blood on the sand, and you will be rewarded with all the glory and treasures that come in this life. Remember, death is only a casualty of victory. I think about that in the dream McKenna had, and know there is no way I won't be ready for Balder. Taylor and Link both win their fights. That must have been great for Juliet to see. It should give her more confidence in Link as a fighter, and that he will not get hurt. And then, my time came. I closed my eyes and just listened for my name to be called. Whatever is going on in the world is irrelevant. All that matters is being present in this moment. The crowd falls silent and focuses their attention on the solarium as the master of ceremonies begins to speak. Tonight, we give you carnage in its most imposing form, the giant Balder of Valhalla, bloodborn of Viking king Eric the Red. The crowd roars as the gate on the opposite end of the arena rose, and Balder saunters out. He throws up his arms and shouts something in Nordic. I have no idea what he says, but the Valhalla fans applaud. Their support makes no difference. As soon as my gate lifts, he is going to have to defend himself. Prayers, the announcer went on, have as well been answered tonight in the form of a true hero. At long last, the greatest gladiator, and arguably the greatest warrior of all time, has returned. Spartacus. True award indeed. For only the fourth time in recent legacy history has an echo appeared on the sand. It is my privilege to give you Luke of Aurelius, the echo of Spartacus, god of the arena. The gate opens and I emerge from the shadows of the dark corridor. Time lingers as I enter the light. The calm pounding of my heartbeat is the only thing I hear. The crowd stands to their feet and explodes in ovation. I can feel the radiant energy of their anticipation. I grip my swords and face Balder in the center of the arena. He has a shield in his right arm and a warhammer in the other. A loud percussion from the beating of his guard hits my chest to intimidate me. The master of ceremonies initiates the fight, and there is no turning back now. Balder and I lock eyes and without hesitation rush towards one another. He swung his mighty hammer as if he intended to knock me out with one blow. I duck, rolling out of the way. He is surprisingly quick considering how hefty he is. I keep that in mind as I advance forward. He uses his shield to block my attack with the right sword and his hammer to deflect the left. I'm not going to win this fight anytime soon if I continue to hold these weapons. The match goes on the same way for another minute. Both of our attacks effectively parried. I am outraged when he lands one good blow to my chin with his shield. I managed to avoid his next thrust and found my opening in time to deliver a knee-weakening blow with my sword to his back. The strike opens him up from one shoulder blade to the other. His arms drop and I lunge at him, driving my knee into his left temple. He falls backwards, hitting the ground like a tree. In an instant, I mount his chest using my left arm to secure him to the floor where I pound his face into a gory pulp. With one last monumental effort, he lifts his arm, extending his index and middle fingers to concede. Somewhere through my anger, I find it in me to stop raining blows on his face. I stand and face my audience as they pass judgment on what they just witnessed. As soon as I look at the sea of faces, cheers and praise raise down as they honor me. I raise my fist to the crowd in respect and recognition. I can bask in this feeling forever.